So this is Jana with Purl Together, and I am interviewing Miranda this evening, and she is a moderator in our Facebook group and become a good friend, and so I'm really happy to have her on this first interview podcast as my first guest. Thanks for doing this with me. I'm really pleased you were able to take some time this evening and, shove your kids downstairs and shut the door and say, yeah. I mean, they have adult supervision. Like, don't be worried about Miranda's kids. Her husband's home. It's all good.
I threw some people in there.
But they're not teenagers. Like, mine are off doing their own thing, but they're teenagers. So they prefer that.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're in Oregon. So we have to work out the time difference sometimes, but it's really cool that you were willing to help me with the group. I so appreciate that, as always. Now, you're a relatively new knitter, right?
Yeah.
So tell me how you learned, like what sparked your interest and how'd you get started?
So I started knitting in college. I had a roommate who, she was a hallmate and she knit a whole bunch. And I was like, you have to teach me how to do that. And I made this really ugly blanket. It was...
Was it like Red Heart yarn?
Yeah. Like chunky. I made it for my mom. And my mom, I asked her if she wanted a blanket, like what colors would she like? And she said, I really like colors red and black. And so I went out and I found...
Portland Trailblazers, right?
No.
No?
If any colors I say, never associate them with sports.
Okay, because you're not a sporty fan. Don't care. Okay.
But she picked red and black, and so I said, okay. So I found this it was thick, it was bulky, like chunky, and I had these my needles were like this big, and you're
like knitting with logs.
I don't know how I got that. I don't know how I toted it around.
Toted? Carried? Hauled?
Yeah, haul. I don't know. It was huge, but I made this blanket. It was knit. Just knitting. I got the knit stitch down, and I finished the blanket. I gave it to my mom. I'm pretty sure she still has it. And that was it. I was done. I was like, I pinned stuff to my Pinterest for months and months of these things that I just could not make, but I was in college and I thought, maybe I should study instead of spending all my time knitting.
But you loved it, clearly.
I did like it, yeah. And then I started, I did other things. I crocheted for a while.
Right.
Crochet, I love crochet, but you just can't do the same stuff.
Right.
So it's been almost how long has it been? That was in 2008. Oh my God. It has been.
So you've been knitting a while.
But I completely stopped after that. And then I just picked it up again, maybe 6 months ago.
Right, because I thought I had it in my mind that you were a relatively new knitter, but so you had a time where you
to do the knit stitch for a very long time.
Okay.
That was it. And then I kind of did crochet here and there through the past 10 years apparently. But I kind of started wanting to do projects that were sweaters or socks.
Yeah, like things that you don't necessarily associate with crochet, that maybe I guess it's possible that people crochet these things, but it is a different look. Knitting is, I think, more refined. And I mean, no offense to the crocheter people out there, all those hookers, no offense. But
I really liked it.
I've seen fantastic little snowflakes and people that have crocheted really very fine, detailed things.
And hats, there's really cute crochet hats, the little animal ones. But I just wanted to try something. I just wanted to try knitting, and so I got on YouTube and I figured it out. And now it's been 6 months ish.
And so is that how you found Purl Together?
Yep. I think I watched one of your demo videos for some kind of a I don't remember which one it was, but
like one of the basic ones, like how to do a decrease or how to make a purl stitch or how to whatever. Okay. Yeah.
like
Well, good.
yeah.
Cool. Well, and now look at you. You're making like entire sweaters with cables and lace and all kinds of complicated shenanigans. Look at you.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. Okay. So, but it was your college hallmate that kind of taught you initially, right?
Yes.
Shout out to Miranda's hallmate.
My dad can knit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But like, I just never really tried or anything until later.
And now you're like a full-fledged yarn snob.
It's painful.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so funny. Well, I have to tell our viewers. Yeah. So I don't think Miranda's husband really kind of clued in about yarn because there's a big difference between the red heart and the not red heart. And now let me just say, before people accuse me of being a yarn snob, now sometimes I am. It all depends on the application. It depends on the situation. There's a place in the world for acrylic. That's totally fine. I knitted the entire harvest sweater out of red heart soft acrylic. That's fine. However,
in the beginning,
there's a time and a place to, maybe move on from that and look at some little higher quality things. And so Miranda had a birthday. You gotta tell that story.
So I have a 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, but my 5-year-old, she's got a really big heart. She really wanted to pick me out some yarn for my birthday. And so, I told her, I prepped her because I knew she wanted to. And so I prepped her for, a couple weeks. I said, just kept telling her, fingering yarn. And so, and I said, no pink, please.
Because she's 5.
My husband directions to the yarn store. And then I called the yarn store and I was like, my family's coming in. Please point them to the fingering yarn.
And don't let them buy pink.
Yeah. And so I guess she walked in and she said, my mom wants finger yarn. But she got me, they picked out 3 skeins of yarn. And then my husband brought it up to the cash register to check out. And he just kind of, at that moment, learned how much yarn costs.
Yeah, I guess, he may not have really realized before then.
No, he did not.
At least he didn't realize about the yarn that you prefer.
Yeah. Well, and he bought yarn that was $10 more than the yarn that I prefer, even.
Wow.
So yeah, they just went all out.
Woo! So they did good, right?
They did really good. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. So far, that kind of segues into my next question. I have a little list of questions. So far, and I know you haven't been knitting, extensively knitting for like a really, really long time. But you do live in a populated area where you have a good local yarn store that has probably quite a good selection.
Yes.
I know that you really, really love your Malabrigo. I know that.
Yeah.
What is your overall favorite yarn? Is it Malabrigo, or have you discovered something that you like equally as much or maybe even a little more?
I think my favorite is the Malabrigo. I haven't tried a whole bunch of other stuff. Now I'm looking at my projects, trying to figure it out, figure out what else I have that's not anything.
Well, you have the kit that we did the Inara knit along.
I don't remember what yarn that is, but I love that yarn.
It's I'll put a link down below, but it's their Cheshire Cat. It's okay, I can't say it. Frabjous Fibers, and the Cheshire Cat is their sock yarn, and so the mini skeins were of that line. Yeah, the Cheshire Cat.
Again, I really like that one.
And so I'll put a link down below for people watching, but we had the mini skein kits for our knit along. So yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, I pretty much use Malabrigo because they're nice quality,
right?
And also a nice price point for a higher end yarn. They're not like as expensive as Madeline Tosh or Hedgehog Fibers,
Right.
which I love both of. I haven't bought a Hedgehog yet.
But it is a step up from what you're going to find at Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, places, you know, your big box craft stores. It is a step up from that for sure.
Like a leaf. Yeah. It's nice yarn. I like it. Yeah. I mean, and I prefer to knit with it. So.
Right. And I think, you know, I think it's important to have yarn that you enjoy working with. I mean, we're all sitting here knitting, you know, we all spend a lot of time with that fiber in your hands, and you need to have things that you enjoy. That's the point, right?
Yeah. And, you know, I use a lot of their sock yarn. I've used their
worsted. Uh-huh.
That's what this is. And my other sweater, with the cable is worsted. The single ply I have, I forgot what they call it, but I use that on my Pavement Sweater.
Right.
So I really like all their.
So that kind of segues in. You're talking about your project. So tell us what you're working on right there, and like we're visiting. What do you have in your hands?
This is an unidentifiable. This is the Rosemont Cardigan.
Okay.
I kind of think that it's going to be too big.
Really?
After we did all that figuring, it's just, I think that when it's, cause it's going to have a, border on the, you know, on the,
right, on the button band.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the border is like 3 inches on each side, and I can already cross the entire, and in like the pictures, the ladies, they're not like closed shut. It's kind of like an open cardigan. And I can already cross it over, but it's not so big that I don't think it's going to be like impossible. I think it's just going to be a large, comfy.
Right.
It's not going to be fitted.
So would you have wanted it to be fitted, or did you want it to be like something layer with?
I wanted it a smidge smaller, just so that it was, you know, not, but I don't think that I want it, you know, it took me this long to be able to figure out that I really probably wanted it a little smaller. Like,
well, can you make the button band not
making it less wide or something? But I mean, and I'll have to do a lot more decreases on the sleeves, because I mean that
is a giant sleeve hole.
Yeah. So it's gonna be pretty big, but I think it'll be comfy.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, what else? I know that you're not project monogamous.
I'm not.
No.
Golly, I'm in the middle of all of my rows here.
I
know. So this is the Good Vibes shawl.
Oh, nice. That looks lovely.
Name. I'm almost done with it. I'm on my last white section, and then I have one more green band, I think.
Uh-huh.
And this one has been interesting.
What kind of edge do you have on there? Do you do like, you know how?
So when I knit my exploration station.
Right.
Even West does an I-cord, and it's so stretchy. It's like you don't have to like do anything crazy for it to be stretchy enough. And so this called for something else, and I kind of tried it for like 2 rows, and I was like, I just really like the I-cord. And so I switched off and I did the I-cord on this instead. I kind of pattern mingled.
And you knit that as you go. That I-cord edging, you knit it as you go, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So did you just figure you cast on 3 extra stitches on each end?
I'm not really sure how I figured that out.
Or you know how on most shawl patterns you'll have knit 3, you have the garter stitch, 3-stitch edging. So did you do that in place of that or in addition to that?
No, I did it in place of the edging that she had.
Okay.
Yeah, I just completely swapped it out. And it gives you this, they have a little, you know, detail there. And yeah, it was a really easy swap because the I-cord, it's very easy. It's just you knit it on, and then when you go to the end of the row, you just slip all 3 of them off. And so it's super easy to just.
Yeah, and then it curls itself in and makes a cord.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't actually done that, and I kind of wished I had asked you about that. I wished I would have put that on my shawl here.
Really?
Yeah, I wished I would have done that as I went, so that the colors, because if I would have done that, like here on this edge, if I would have done that, then I would have had a better edge that was the correct corresponding color as I went.
Yeah, I didn't do it on my Inara. Mine is still in the baby stages.
That's all right.
I did knit through the back loop of the last stitch
To make a chain edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good option too. Sure. Okay, so you've got the cardigan and the shawl, and I know you got other stuff going on as well.
All my projects?
Well, yeah, we're having show and tell here.
Okay, so I have my Inara, which is taking me forever.
Okay, but in fairness, you have 2 small children. That's not knitting. You cannot do lace.
Every row he wants to jump on me and play, and I just can't. When people, it's with this kind of lace, if you're talking to me, I'm gonna lose it. I've already reknit, like I reknit enough rows that this one is now in timeout. So, but it's in this, I have it in this cute little project bag that I just want to take with me everywhere.
It is totally cute.
And yeah, I might need to.
Speaking of project bags, show your birthday project bag.
My husband got me that.
Her husband buys her that. That's awesome.
It's huge too. It's
sweater size.
Yeah, it's like bigger than sweater size. So, yeah.
Good job, Andrew.
I think I have another project somewhere that I don't have with me. But I'm also, now I have to remember what these are all called. This is Winter on My Mind by Melanie Berg. I've been working on it forever. But it's lace weight. So it's taking a long time, but it's gonna go into
that color looks fabulous on you, if I can just say that.
Thank you. I was gonna pick like a gray or a neutral kind of color, but
no, that looks great.
Yeah, I figured I would go outside of my comfort zone. I have, let's see, I feel like I'm missing something, but
you have a sock going, even though you hate socks?
What is this one called? Stripe It To Me. This is called Stripe It To Me. And it's cute.
It is cute. Wow. Look at you. And those are the needles that the Addi Flex.
Yeah, these are the Addi Flex.
A lot of people haven't seen those, so you might show the third one and show what it is. Yeah. So it's like a mini cable there.
Yeah, and then you can just, you use your third needle and you knit.
So you use it like DPNs, but you only need 3.
Yeah, and it's flexible, so it's, you can move your stitches around and you're not getting too tight if you have too many on one.
Right.
Yeah. So this one I've been working on for a while, but it's just,
Well, that's kind of tedious, and that's difficult with little kids too.
It's really not too bad. The pattern is very simple, and it's once you know it, you can just do it.
Right.
But it's a sock.
Yeah, socks are not Miranda's favorite thing.
I don't like socks, but the yarn is awesome. I really like this yarn. So,
what is that? What yarn is that?
Fluffy Fingering.
Okay, by Ewe. All right. Washable.
It was really fun. Yeah.
So do you have all this stuff like uploaded on your Ravelry page if people want to see your Ravelry? Okay, so I will link to your Ravelry down below as well if people want to check it out. Oh, and look at that.
Half. I'm notorious for stopping in the middle of my row, mostly because of children.
I know, but that's when they'll get used to you saying, "Let me finish my row. Let me finish my row." They'll get used to that.
So here's one sock I'm working on.
Okay, now you're doing 2 at a time, cuff down. That's good.
Every time I pick it up, I think, maybe I should just knit one off and do it one at a time.
But you don't.
It's not going to make me like socks anymore. So maybe I'll go this way. You can see better. Yeah.
So why do you think you dislike socks? Why is it?
I don't know.
Oh, the big huffy sigh. Oh.
it's slow progress. And also I am still working on finding a good fit because I'm a really tight knitter. And so I think these socks have, God, how many do they have? They have like 40, I think they have 40 stitches on.
So it's an 80 stitch cast on, yeah.
Yeah.
And see, for me, because I have such big feet, that's not unusual. But especially with ribbing, I mean, I don't know if you're knitting the leg portion just stockinette or if you've carried on the ribbing. That's not unusual for me, especially if you have size 1s and it's fingering weight and you knit a little bit tightly to begin with. That's not unusual. That's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
It'll make a really good dense.
Forever. I want to get like a 64 stitch count sock and just be like, my dainty little sock.
No, but you have to just adjust your perspective.
I know, but they're just, I don't know. I just don't really love
You want things that go along quicker than that.
Yeah. And then I think this is my last one. I feel like I'm missing something, but what is this? I'm working on
the Cozy Memories blanket.
Thank you. I only pull it out every so often.
Okay. Mitered squares, right?
Yeah, and I kind of looked at the pattern and did something else.
There's nothing wrong with that. You're the boss.
Yeah, it's not the same at all. And I would have to look at my Ravelry, but I think that these are 51 stitches with the center double decrease.
Right. Yep.
And so it's just in my bag of and I'm doing it on size 2mm, I think. 2.25 maybe.
Okay, so those are ones, US ones, 2.25. Okay.
So it's gonna take me probably 50 years.
That's okay. It'll be one of those things where, you'll be buried with it.
Yes, I will.
That's all right.
Yeah. But you can see Malabrigo, metal on top.
Well, one day you'll have a variety of things. Yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
I've got a whole bunch. I have a whole bunch in my, I'm looking this way because my yarn drawer is over there. And I have a whole bunch of new ones to try. I just have to finish something.
You're being good. You're forcing yourself not to cast on.
7 or 8 projects going, so.
That's not unusual for most of us.
Out of needles is the problem.
Well, okay. Yes, you do need so in order to free up needles, you either have to finish or frog.
Or buy more needles.
Oh, well, there's that.
Something.
On the sly.
Yeah.
Right? On the sly.
Yeah.
So what do you think has been your most challenging project thus far? Would you say the Inara?
Yes, the Inara for sure, just because I'm unable to pay attention fully. And so I have to, I have to pay attention. It's hard because pretty much every project that I do at this point, there's a challenge because it's all new. Every time I do something, like right now, it's basically the first time I've done it. So I have to learn how to do it and then do it. And
right.
Yeah. So,
but I will say though, be kind to yourself about that because lace is not that easy. It's not, because in this day and age where people are like boop 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 and our attention is divided, we're like Pong all the time, and we've been programmed in our culture to be that way with social media, and we're all distracted, and lace is not easy to begin with. So then when you add the distractions of everyday modern life and social media and a family, kids, people that want to talk to you, people that need you, people that have demands on your time because you're a mom, and that's normal. It is not easy. It's not easy to do these things. So
I'm not upset about it or anything.
No, but it's just be kind to yourself about it. It's not as if it's in concept, it's not a difficult thing, but it does require attention,
I don't have.
And that's the season of your life that you're in right now,
My exploration station though, I had to learn brioche, and that was really tough. Stephen West does videos for his, like, he'll link to videos that he's done of techniques, but he knits with
Fast.
the other hand.
He knits fast and he knits continental, and so that's difficult. Yep.
It's like, what the heck am I watching?
Yep.
And so that, oh God, that was frustrating. But once I figured it out, it was like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Well, that's on my list to do either as I haven't decided. That's on my list to do either as a class, a brioche class, or, just as straight up, technique videos on my channel.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I think it needs a class so that people can ask questions,
Yeah, I think so. There's a, have you watched, I think it's not the latest Grocery Girls, but the one before the latest.
I am so behind on the Grocery Girl. I mean, they've got like 60 some odd episodes. I'm really behind, but I'll look it up. So
Test knit a cowl, a brioche cowl. And I was, half paying attention. And so when she was talking about it, I was like, I have to make that. And so I'm like looking at her Ravelry, trying to figure it out. And then I like had to watch the segment again to hear her say that she was test knitting it and the pattern wasn't out yet. But I'm like eagerly waiting for the pattern to come out because it just looks so fluffy and lovely. And
brioche is fantastic. I've made a brioche hat and, it was like, ooh, it was so lovely. I mean, if I was a kitty, I'd be like, oh, that's so nice, right?
Yes.
I want an entire brioche bedspread just to wallow on, don't you? Yeah. That would be fantastic. But then, you have Einstein.
Oh my God.
So Einstein is Miranda's giant dog. It's a Newfoundland?
He's in Newfoundland. Took him to the vet today, and he's 98.5 pounds.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, he's a big boy, but he's so sweet. He's very sweet. It's raining. It's rainy season in Oregon. He doesn't, this is his first real
winter
with rain and stuff. He does not want to get his paws wet.
Oh.
When he goes outside, he goes as close to the door as he can, pops a squat, and that's it. He will not go. I can't make him go.
He's like, here, just let me lift my leg on the siding of the house and come back in.
Basically. So we've had some words recently that are, disagreeable about where he's
from. And you named him Einstein because there's a little irony involved there.
Yeah, and so we had a Newfoundland before too, and his name was Darwin, and so we kind of went with the theme there and got Einstein this time.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Maybe it's a little bit of irony, maybe it's a little bit of wishful thinking.
That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little cute, but we love him.
Yes. Have your children expressed interest in learning to knit?
Oh my gosh, Aurora tells me all the time, Mom, maybe when I'm just a little bit older, we could knit something together. I'm like, that would be great, baby. But I keep putting it off because she's 5 and I only have so much patience. Oh,
I know.
I'm thinking maybe for her birthday next year, I'll get her, her birthday's in June. So 6 more months, she'll be out of kindergarten. Maybe she'll have picked up the attention span skills.
Well, but the thing is, if she's going to knit like, a pot holder or a scarf, that's something that's just garter stitched. And when she puts it down, it's not that hard to figure out where you were. And you know what I mean? You can come and go with it.
Yeah. I just don't want her to get I don't want it to be a crummy experience for both of us because I'm frustrated teaching somebody who, can't sit still and she's frustrated not being able to learn it quick enough. And
right.
That's why I'm thinking give it another 6 months and I think that she'll be.
Yeah, and then make sure you have worsted weight in size 8 or something,
Yes, big. I did try to teach my best friend to knit. That was a disaster.
Oh no, how come?
Well, because when we get together,
Because she can't sit still and she has no patience.
we've got 4 kids,
Oh.
8-year-old, 5-year-old, and 2 3-year-olds. They're 2.5. And it's just, you sit down for 5 seconds and somebody needs something.
Well, right. That's not really an activity like.
But she lives an hour away, and so it's not like we can just try and do it for 5 minutes every other day or whatever. It's like if we want to try this, we gotta try it. But
Yeah, it's hard to arrange to not have all the kids with you if she,
especially when we're, so far apart, and
right.
We can't just shove our husbands, in the back room with the kids. And
well, I would. No.
But if we're at my house, we've only got my husband who's working all the time, and if we're only at her house, we've got her husband who's working all the time. So,
So leave the husbands and the kids in their respective houses, and then you meet somewhere for an overnighter and a drinking girls' night out at a hotel.
We're working on it. We've been trying to make a plan like that for years now.
That's hard. It is hard. I remember when my kids were really little. It's super difficult to find a moment to yourself, much less 24 hours.
Yes.
I know. So what do you think? And I know this is like a weird subjective question, but like for me, I find knitting to be it's very grounding. And for me, it's like I have to be doing something with my hands, and I want to be like, if I'm in conversation with someone, or if I'm attending an event where I need to listen to a lecture, or like when I, used to go to church, I would knit in church. I've said that before. So I think that I listen better and I pay attention better when my hands are busy. Like other people doodle on napkins or, pick their hangnails or whatever. But so knitting is very grounding to me. And if it's also very meditative in some instances, if I'm doing just something simple on and on and on. I mean, not like the lace section that you really have to pay attention to, but so what do you think? So for you, is it a tactile thing that you really enjoy? What do you get from it?
I always have a hobby. I always have like one thing that I'm really putting all of my effort into and putting all of my extra time and attention into. And right now it's knitting. Hasn't always been, and it probably won't always be.
Oh, the hell you say?
Well, it won't always be my number one. I don't anticipate not knitting anymore, but I also don't necessarily anticipate knitting every second of every day for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Well, no, but okay. Because I've been doing this for about 20 years now, so.
Well, yeah, but have you ever gone through stages where you're knitting more, maybe knitting a little less? No?
Not really.
Oh, well, I do,
But it's my thing. It's my thing. It's like I found my one thing. I mean, I have other things like backpacking, or, like I enjoy baking, or I have, other things, but not to that same level of passion, I guess, is what I mean.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I'm still doing it in like this in a year or two. Maybe that's it.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I just like doing new things. I like making things. I don't know. I like yarn. And it's something that I can just have around the house, that I can just kind of pick up and do
as you're able.
Bring it with me, or take it in the car, or
right.
Yeah.
So what is your travel project at the moment?
Socks.
You're like, damn it.
Yeah. It sucks.
Socks are good for that. Socks are really good for that. But if you don't enjoy it, then there's plenty of other things like. But see, you can always use more winter socks. Like, how many beanies do you need? Really?
Yeah. All of my projects are at a point where I need to be reading the pattern. Except my sweater, I've just gotten it past I'm like 2 or 3 inches past the, pattern part. I'm just knitting.
Right.
but it's so big.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can throw it in my purse. So socks are the only thing that's portable and easy to remember.
Right.
So it's been socks.
Even though you hate
Because I've got this gorgeous yarn. My friend dyed it for me. And it's like, I told her what I wanted.
And she did.
And she did exactly what I wanted. It's gorgeous, beautiful, squishy.
It's fantastic.
Really nice to work with.
Do you think you would feel better about that if you separated them off and you could just knit stockinette and just knit one at a time? It would be faster.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
It would be so much faster.
Really wanted to give it a go with 2 at a time because it'd be so nice to just, when I'm done, I'm done.
But if you find it to be aggravating, then why?
I don't know. Cause I mean, it's not like I'm really into socks either way, I don't know.
That's true.
So, I just found on both of my,
oh,
in
nice.
one bag that I never open. Great spot for them.
There you go.
Put those in my.
So that was beneficial. So what kind of a bag do you keep your little tools and notions? I guess grocery girls would call it the notions bag.
I would like to get a different one because this is not big enough for all of my things. This is just my needles. But it's my Chowgoo interchangeables.
Now, is that the mini sock set or is that the full size?
I have both the small and the large regular size. I haven't got the sock set yet. But I keep like my cable needles in here. I have a whole bunch because
you always need them.
I got one really nice, like fun bamboo set, and then my dog ate one. Then I got another set. My dog ate them. So then I got aluminum. And I keep like my cords in there because where else are you going to keep them besides with your needles? And then it has like a little zippy on the front, which is like overflowing. I can't fit anything else in here. And I have like my scissors and my little light bulb pins and my
light bulb. What now? Oh, your progress marker keeper. Okay. Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
Pear-shaped markers. Whatever that means. And then I just have like, and then this is my downstairs basket, which is just what I throw everything in. All my projects go in there. So I have like extra bags and when I'm trying to do my cottage knitting, when I'm practicing that, I have these needles, my big accordion with all of my circulars in it, and then I just throw all my project bags in there and just keep it downstairs, and I can just grab and go.
You're very organized like that.
I am.
I am not. I have yarn. Look at my shelf behind me. My desk is like.
I gotta keep it all in one place, otherwise tiny hands are gonna grab it and move it, and I'm never gonna see it again.
That's true. I only have cats to worry about at this point.
You want to hear a kind of funny story?
Yes.
Little, I don't think I think they're downstairs. The little stitch markers that you sent me, the really cute purple ones, the beads.
Yeah.
And I was so excited about those. And I used them once, and then I was looking for them and I couldn't find them. And then I looked in the couch where I was sitting. I looked in all the cushions. I looked under the couch. I looked in my knitting basket. I looked in my knitting drawers. I just looked everywhere and I couldn't find them. And I was like totally bummed out. And then we ended up selling our couch. And I was just, after I still couldn't find them, I was just like, they're gone. They were in the couch and they're gone. And I'm just going to have to let it go and move on.
Yeah. Shit happens, right?
Yeah. And I was totally bummed about it.
No. Yeah.
And then like 2 days, this was like the week I got them, okay, which was months ago.
Yeah.
And then I put a jacket on that doesn't really fit over my boobage, but so I don't wear it very often.
See, I'm not the only one that says boobage. I am not the only one that says that.
Anyways,
Or did you just get it
it
from
on
me?
and I zipped it up and I was like, it'll be fine. And I put my hands in the pockets and there they were.
What? Isn't it? Do you recall putting them there?
Nope. Not a clue. I found something else in the pocket too, but I can't remember what it was.
So do you think it was the littles in your house that?
No, I'm sure that I put it in my pocket. Must have been like wearing it and picked it up and shoved it in my pocket so that the little elves wouldn't take them. And then I just forgot about it. So I was like stoked to find them. I was like, yes, this is jackets that don't fit.
And now are they somewhere safe?
I think they're on my bathroom counter because I found them when I was in the bathroom getting ready to go. I put my pocket in or put my hand in. I was like,
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I was super excited about that. Glad to not have lost them.
So this is a silly thing to ask since you already have like 6 or 7 things. If you had enough needles and if you had the yarn that you wanted, what would be the next thing that you would cast on immediately?
Probably the Find Your Fade. I love shawls. I really love shawls. I think it would be the Find Your Fade.
By Andrea Mowry. We'll link that below.
Yeah. That's gotta be it. Oh, or the Teroldego. I don't know.
Oh, I think I know. You'll have to message me whichever one that is.
I bought the pattern as soon as it was available. I just don't have the yarn for it yet, but it's I love the shawl. So it would be a toss up between those two. Find Your Fade or the one that I can't say.
Well, that's all right. We'll link it down below because, I think we've talked about it before, and I might even have put it in my queue after you told me about it. So, all the stuff we've talked about, I'll make a list down below because people like to know these things,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. So, I want to look at the Find Your Fade as well. And God knows I have enough yarn.
I know. Yeah. Do you have a fade?
I don't know. It's possible.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of figure out what I would like my colors to be. I think I'm going to go through the Ravelry projects and see what other people have done, figure out what colors I like best, and then just start picking up a skein here and there. Because I think I have some from my stash that I can use that I would like. But I'm sure that I do. I have stuff I forgot I bought. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm going to do is just kind of start getting one at a time. Mm-hmm.
Well, like this that I'm using here for this is the Sockhead.
Oh, yeah.
I've had this in my stash probably for, yay. I've probably had this in my stash for 10 years.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But I have stash.
That's going to be me.
Ridiculousness. Right?
I was at the point where I was just buying and using.
Yeah, I remember you saying that just a couple months ago.
Yeah.
You're like, I just buy yarn and then I knit it and use it and then.
Now it's like this. I can't do it with both hands. My buying is like this and my using is like this.
Yes. Well, but it's also because you had a birthday.
I did. And I got
some skeins
of yarn.
Well, you gotta love that.
Plus, I bought myself some. I bought the Harry Potter clubs, which is free, but then there was the snafu, so that's turned into 5. And
so, do you do any of those subscription things? Like some people in our group do the yarn crate and stuff. And
I've thought about it, about doing a regular subscription, but I'm a little picky. And if I'm spending $25 to $30, I really just want to love it.
Yeah. And if you're going to spend the money, you kind of want to choose what you really like.
I did do the Harry Potter. So I did do the Homespun House Harry Potter Yarn Club, which she does I think once or twice a year.
And you said that's a 3-month thing?
3-month club. And it's She does it with the Sucra miniatures. And so I did do that for my birthday, but that's the only one. And it's only a 3-month one. It's not like a long-term.
Right. Yeah. But I know, and what I've thought about is if we had enough people, I'm just brainstorming here, but if we had enough people, it would be kind of fun to set up, and I would do this in Ravelry, not on Facebook, because then you have your thread easily to locate, right? Yeah. You can pin it and the thread is there. It doesn't get lost on the Facebook board or Facebook page, where we could set up like a swap where like if you have Yarn Crate and you all of a sudden got something you didn't really care for, you could put it up and say, hey, this isn't really my colors. Do you want to trade for, what do you got to trade?
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be
and really then, obviously people are responsible for their own postage and shipping, and you want to make sure that it's somebody you're comfortable swapping with. Like as the moderator, like I'm not going to police that. So, because like there's no way that I don't know people personally,
Yeah. And I mean, there's ways to do that through PayPal. You you both pay each other, and then if it doesn't arrive or whatever, you can file a complaint at that point. But I think for the most part, people are pretty.
No, they are, and I've done swap groups like that on Ravelry before, and for the most part, I think knitters are pretty awesome people. I mean, of course, there's bitchy people wherever you go. I mean, there is, but I think there's a higher percentage of nice people that are knitters than other. Right? So
I would agree. Yeah.
I would. I think so. So do you feel like you've been knitting long enough to have things that you just kind of hate and need to frog that are sitting there vexing you that you need to get rid of?
Socks.
Yes.
No, not yet. I haven't, I'm looking at my project drawer. I haven't really.
Well, you haven't had things that are sitting around for a year in a project bag that's been in timeout or hibernation that you hate.
No, I mean, the closest thing would have been my Good Vibes shawl, just because I messed up on the stitch count somewhere. And so then I kind of had to fake it in like the middle. And somehow I faked it till I got back on the stitch count. I don't know.
And the only thing that ever makes me nervous about doing that is if like I've dropped a stitch and it's going to continue running, and then.
Yeah.
So if you don't think that's the case, then you're good.
I mean, if I do, and I can frog it and start over. I'm pretty laid back, but I got it figured out, and so that one's. And now I'm on the home stretch. I'm on the last lace section. After this, I just have one little green stripy row, and it'll be done. So that's like got that. My Sockhead hat, I didn't think I was ever gonna finish.
That is some mindless stockinette. I mean, that's good Netflix knitting right there.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. It just got really to the point where I was just like so done with stockinette. I didn't want to do another round of stockinette, but I took it on the plane with me. This is so funny. I took it on the plane with me, and I knit and I knit and I knit and I knit like 5 inches longer than this, and then I finished it. And I finished the top and I put it on. I was like, what have I done?
That reminds me of like the Chef Boyardee guy.
It was way too long. So I took it back and I undid like 5 inches almost, I think, of stockinette. And now I have a hat that's much, much easier to wear.
and it will accommodate your fantastic hair.
I have to wear my hair when I do it. I have to wear it to the side. Otherwise I look like I'm sick. But it's cute.
It is super cute.
And it keeps my head so warm. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, it's merino. Yeah.
No. I when I wear my knits, I'll put a sweater on, wear it for an hour, and then I have to take it off because it's too hot.
Yeah. Well, it's not super cold where you live. So, that kind of segued when I said Netflix knitting and stockinette, we're talking about that. So what's on your Netflix list? People always like to know what other people are watching. Like, do you have any good shows or good series that you would recommend?
I'm probably the worst person to ask about shows. Almost nothing. I go through phases of watching a little bit of TV and then watching none.
Nothing. Right.
And I just come out of the none. And so lately I've been watching the Great British Baking Show.
Yes.
because it's just kind of fun and mindless, and I can easily do it with, with my knitting. And if I have to look at the pattern for a minute, I'm not really going to miss much of, the tiramisu. Like, not that big of a deal to miss a bit.
So are you starting at the beginning? Are you on like season 1?
I started on season 1 and now I'm on season 3. So
you're still with Paul and Mary.
Yes, it's still Paul and Mary.
Because they change hosts later on.
Yeah, I do.
But I like Paul and Mary. I like Mary.
I like them, yeah.
Paul's still there, but Mary's not.
And that's about it. I'm not watching anything.
But we like the Great British Baking Show. We watch that while we have dinner sometimes. We always eat dinner together as a family, but sometimes it's at the table in the dining room. Sometimes we watch a show together. So we're watching the most recent season that just was released on Netflix. So I think it's 5 or 6. I forget what number it is, but yeah, we're watching the newest one right now.
That's it. I'm not watching anything else. I'm listening to some books on tape. But that's hard with my kids yabbering at me.
Yeah. So I think you and I have talked about in the past. We've talked about knitting podcasts that you enjoy.
Yeah.
There's.
So that's what I watch TV wise is I get my TV time from knitting podcasts. And I watch Amy Florence from the Stranded podcast. She does Stranded Dye Works yarn and Stranded podcast. And she's in Wales. And then I also watch Katie from Inside Number 23.
Okay.
And the Grocery Girls.
Yeah.
And that's about it for knitting podcasts. But what I do is I go back and I watch them from the beginning.
Right.
And then I'll watch a few episodes of the recent ones, and if I like it, if you like it.
Yeah. And then the Grocery Girls are funny. And so I watched a recent one, and then, I did the same thing about a year ago. And then I kind of got busy, but I would set up Grocery Girls on the iPad on the kitchen counter this summer when I was canning tomatoes, just to listen while I was, canning, because that's a lot, and it takes hours and hours, and it's a lot of staining there. And yeah. And it's pretty family friendly. It's not like I'm going to be watching, some rated R or something on Netflix while my kids are back and forthing in the kitchen,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's knitting. But there are some pretty dang funny podcasts that maybe are not family appropriate.
Oh, yeah. No, I really like them too, but I've just started watching them. I haven't gone all the way back on theirs yet. Their podcasts are so long.
They are. I don't know. They're some of them are an hour and a half, right? Yeah. But that's okay, because I'll leave one up on a tab on my computer, and I'll listen to maybe 20 minutes of it. It might take me 3 days to watch one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they are lengthy, but I enjoy them though.
They're really fun. And they always have a lot of new projects and new yarns and stuff that I'm always like, oh, I want to try that. Oh,
I know. Can you imagine what their stash rooms, they must have rooms, entire dedicated rooms.
I would just like to go and
I want to go to their house and take a tour of their knitting, right? Don't you want to take a tour?
Yes, I do. Yes, sign me up. I'm here. I'm willing.
Okay, so they live in Canada, so you come pick me up and then we'll go. We'll have knitting road trip.
Yeah. Who's driving?
Well, you have to get here. Or I know. You fly into Denver and I'll come get you.
Okay. And then you can drive and I'll knit in the car.
Yeah. For being a relatively new-ish knitter, you've done some amazing things. I
jumped in and went.
You did.
What was my first project?
The first sweater one you did didn't it have that cable down the front?
No, the first sweater was the Pavement.
That's right.
What was my first project? I think I did socks. I was trying to get socks right, and I got really just PO'd with socks, and I was like, I'm doing a sweater, and that's what I did. I think the Pavement was basically my first.
Well, so I think you kind of have that first sock experience has maybe colored your opinion of socks in general now?
Probably.
Maybe? Well, I don't know.
It's right. It's just hard because everything says, you know, do this many stitches or whatever. And then mine was, I just have to do so many more because my knitting is so, and so the first 2 pairs of socks that I made are too small. I still wear them, but they're way too small.
You're like trying to yank them on your feet over your heel.
Yeah. Like lengthwise, I think they might even be a little long lengthwise, but around they're just
yeah.
small.
Well, I think, yeah, especially if you're a new-ish sock knitter, I think ribbing is really important just because of that, because it gives you a lot of forgiveness there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, we're still working on that. One day.
Cool. Well, Miranda, I appreciate you joining me for this first podcast interview episode. We got to figure out what it's going to be called. What should we call the podcast where I'm not just rambling on by myself, where I actually talk to someone else?
Together?
What's that?
Rambling together? I don't
know. We're going to have to brainstorm a name.
I mean, the interview episodes. I am not the person to brainstorm names with, let me tell you.
I know, because I struggle. Like, am I going to try to be witty, or am I going to try to just be like interview number 1?
Right.
Or like, you know, the grocery girls, we keep talking about them because they're funny, but they're like, you know, episode number 65, episode number 66. So that way, like, they don't have to come up with the title.
Ooh, I would not be able to come up with it.
There's value in simplicity, I will say.
Oh, titling is I also write, and titling is the worst.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Titles and stuff. That's baloney. Not for me.
It is very difficult. I know. So we'll have to think about that. But I appreciate you being willing to be the first one. So.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. So we'll talk to you later.
Yes. Bye.